All right. It says that I am live now, but I got to check first because we're streaming on 6 different platforms right now. My name is Amir Zen. What's up? Today, I decided that I want to debate, but I decided I want to debate AI. And what better topic to start on than immigration? So right now I'm going to check the 6 different streams to make sure that I am live and ready to go. All right, we got audio working. I'm the only person here right now, so it's a bit of a start, but just got to do some checking real quick and see that I am good everywhere. I am about to pull up ChatGPT and have a debate with it and ask it some questions and see what it says. And I am going to give you my responses back. I'm going to be asking ChatGPT. Let's check. I'm going to be asking ChatGPT. Oh, sorry about that. About the immigration policy based off of the current regime, the Joe Biden regime. So just checking real quick here. Just got to see if we're good on Rumble. So if you haven't done so yet, please follow your boy on Rumble. Oh, of course, that did not work on Rumble. But if you are here right now, say what's up. I'm going to be here for the next hour, and I am going to debate AI. And if you're a human and you want to debate me, we can do that too. Let me Oh, look at that. Yeah, Rumble is not actually working right now. So the one place that we really got to be, my goal is to get 1 million on Rumble, 1 million followers on Rumble by 2025. So if you're here right now watching on Rumble or anywhere else, please follow me here where you are and on my Rumble channel. All right, let's do this. I am about to go live on removing that one. Let's see if the Rumble actually works now. All right. If you're here, what is Rumble? Somebody just asked me what is Rumble. Oh, whoa. You don't know what Rumble is? That just shows that Rumble is really big, but it's not that big yet. Wow. All right. That is very interesting. Rumble is YouTube's right now. And Rumble is where I can speak freely. And when there are streams where I can't be on places like IG and YouTube talking about things that are not approved, then Rumble is where you can do that. So I would highly recommend getting the Rumble app and just having fun on it and just seeing all the content that you have been missing for the last few years of heavy censorship where companies like YouTube have removed so many of the old videos. So if you're just coming in the chat right now, say what's up. I am about to be debating AI on the current immigration crisis and debate and see what it tells me. I have no idea. Like I said, I just decided on immigration a few hours ago. I'm going to be doing this debating AI on blank series a lot more moving forward if this one turns out fun. And I think it is. Hey, what's up, Jacob? How you doing? We are about to be debating ChatGPT on the current AI crisis, or what am I saying? Sorry, the current immigration crisis. So join us. And if you have any questions, if you have any points about the current immigration crisis, if you have any ideas on solutions and your thoughts on the current crisis, let me know in the comments. And I will read through those chats a little later. Let's see. All right. Oh, I didn't check YouTube. Sorry, I checked YouTube. All right, let's see. Boom. I'm on Twitter as well. So I'm streaming right now on Instagram, Rumble, Twitter, YouTube, Kick, Twitch. Boom, let's go. So if you're watching on any of these platforms, please like this video and please give me a follow. All right, let's start this out. I am a huge fan of debating. Like I said earlier, it's something I try not to do as often as I used to do in my life because debating is a form of war in a sense. You're playing a game, it's a fight, and when you go and debate, there is going to be one clear winner. You go into a debate to win. So my whole thing these days is I just prefer to have constructive conversations with people that I would otherwise be going and just jumping into debates with without going through other agreements first. So another thing I realize is that when I do have a lot of these debates, I know that person's argument better than they do. A lot of people who promote ideas have not studied these ideas from a truly scholarly sense of, reading literature on the topic, the history, like really understanding, the main philosophers of the topic, for example. So it just got kind of boring. I'm sitting there going like, yeah, it's frustrating. And usually when you're debating another person, that person, it's very rare. So if anything, you're going into a debate not to learn new ideas, but to win based off of your own ideas. If you're fighting, for example, I look at it as like a debate is a one-on-one in a ring together, right? So when you're fighting together in that ring, are you there to learn some new kick punch combo in that ring during the battle? No, that's what you do in practice. That's what you do outside of the actual battle. And debates, verbal debates, are battles in that sense. So oftentimes these days too, people will say after a conversation like, "Oh man, that was a really good debate we just had." And I stop them and I say, "Hey, we did not just have a debate. We just had a conversation where we bring up our opposing views." That is different than a debate, especially when you know that the side that has those views doesn't even know what they're actually talking about. So when you bring up data, the scholars within their ideology, they don't even know what you're talking about. And for that reason, I think that using AI will be much more constructive. Hey, what's up? If you're all in the chat right now, I see a handful of people coming into every single chat right now. We're streaming on 6 different platforms right now. So if you're here, please like this video. What's up? Instagram world's always to the side over here. We're streaming right over here on 5 different platforms. We're on Rumble, Twitter, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and over here on the gram. So I just wanted to start this out. I'm going to ask the questions and then I'm going to read the answers that it gives. And then I'm just going to respond back. So before I get started, again, I just decided on the immigration issue a few hours ago. I was thinking like, debating AI on what is a hot button topic that a lot of people are talking about right now that I've talked a lot about in my life over many years. And millions of people are crossing the United States border in ways that could be problematic. I don't know. We're going to talk about that today. If you have any opinions on this topic, let me know in the comments. I'm going to be here for the next hour and I'm going to be debating AI. So The immigration crisis that's happening right now, it's just an influx of migrants at the border. And there are a lot of different sides to this debate. My side to the debate is not taking the establishment Democrat and the establishment Republican view. My view on this debate is another way, a way that I would say is much more efficient and can result in a much better flow, perhaps. We'll see. And a lot of people, I've heard the debate that, the influx of people that are coming in illegally right now is by design. If you have anything to say about that, let me know. Oh, before I continue, gotta take some Specker deep recovery and get my body ready for this hefty debate I do with the computer right now. And I just put some Specker Energy into this drink, which is an espresso shot and raw milk and cream with the Specker Energy in it that has peppermint oil. So it makes it taste like the holidays when you have a latte type drink and you put that Specker Energy in there. It is a very pleasant experience. So that being said, if you haven't done so yet, please check out my company, speckerhealth.com, and you can check out the new Specker Health Assessment, the new Specker Library, a fully interactive website, and also check out our full product line and see what product fits best into your life. Your support is greatly appreciated. All right, I'm about to get this started right now. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to read them in a little. So I'm just first going to prompt ChatGPT. I'm using GPT-4 here. On the next episode, once I get this figured out a little, there's a new integration on ChatGPT where you can just talk to it and it could talk to you in audio back. So I'm playing around a little bit with that to see how that works out. And if it is cool, then, we're going to. We got Nick here in the chat says, I was once an open borders cucktard, eyes purple crying. Wow. All right. Well, if you have anything to say about that, if you have any more details about that, you just let me know. I've become more open-minded to various different arguments on immigration as well. And we're going to talk about that today. And the ideas that I bring up are ideas that there could be better ideas. These are just some ideas that I'm proposing from my background and knowledge on the topic that I believe can help find the best common ground between both sides. Because what's happening right now in immigration is the right is super restrictive. Then the left goes and does the exact opposite of being restrictive. Just millions a year coming in without doing it in the right way that the United States, the way that my parents did it. They're not, yeah, you all know what I mean. They're just walking to the border and saying, hey, let me in, before there's any anything done. And there is a influx of these people. Millions a year are coming in. So if you ask me, do I have a problem with an influx of immigration if there was a legal immigration system that was efficient, that helped Americans, also helped others who wanted a better life? That's what America is. And when we have a lot of these immigration debates, it's always, oh, they're going to ruin our culture. They're going to ruin our way of life. I got to tell y'all, the immigration debate in America has been going on for hundreds of years. During Abraham Lincoln's time, during the era of the Civil War, this was a topic of debate. And Abraham Lincoln was actually one of the sides of that debate, which was very open to the influx of immigration. So it's really hilarious that Republicans typically say they love Abraham Lincoln so much, but uh, Abraham Lincoln was what we would call today communist. You want to know a little bit more about that? Go read about the letters that were sent to Abraham Lincoln by Karl Marx and the letter that was sent back to them. And Karl Marx and a bunch of other people, they came together, sent him the letter, and Abraham Lincoln responded. So this whole left right immigration influx, close the borders, can't let more in, gotta let more in debate, y'all, hundreds of years old in American history. And before America, happening in different places too. America is not a unique example of what's going on right now. So again, if you're all in the chat right now, say what's up. I am going to be here debating AI on immigration. Hey, what's up? All right, let's see. AI can't get caffeinated. We got an advantage already. That's funny. Yeah, that's caffeine is one hell of a plant-based drug. You know, the way I look at it is that nature already provides some of the best compounds that we have. So synthesizing them is not is not sorry, not going to be the move. So the way I look at it is, always exhaust your options with the naturals before you go to the synthetics. And yeah, exactly, like beautiful mushrooms. So, and actually it's funny because now in the mushroom industry, they're using synthetic psilocybin. But I would love to talk about that. But today I gotta debate a robot on immigration. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna read these comments as I am going. All right. And if you haven't done so, if you're here on Instagram, if you have Rumble or YouTube or any of the other streaming, Kick, even on Twitter, Amir Zen Official, give me a follow there. We're going to 1 million followers on Rumble. So shout out to Rumble. Okay. So this is what I'm going to prompt and ask it right now. And I'm just to you as I'm going to ask, hey, I want you to me on U.S. immigration crisis, on the U.S. immigration crisis that is currently happening at the U.S. border. I want you to take the establishment Democratic Party narrative that is currently acceptable by them. And I want you to prove to me that having open borders and allowing millions of people to flood into America totally unvetted is actually the most efficient and best option for, I want to say, for America. Yeah, man, America comes first, man. So for best option for America. All right, I'm going to press enter and see what it says. And we're going to start this. And I'm going to tell you what I think. And I'll just keep prompting it. I'm probably going to ask it some questions as well. So, all right, let's see. We got Flow State says almost all drugs are plant-based. No, actually. They could come from plant-based sources before they're synthesized in a lab. For example, your vitamin C pill, that supplement that you take, ascorbic acid supplement, vitamin C, they could say that that comes from corn, so it's plant based, but it's not because they took the corn, they brought it into a lab, mixed it with other compounds, voila, created a new compound. So when that statement is made that it's all plant based, he says on the same page. So yeah, I think that's a very important thing to be noted in. I'm a product formulator for a living. So if you're listening to this, you're a product formulator, business company, or you own a business or something. You got to stop saying that your synthetic supplements are natural. Yeah, they started natural, but literally there's a definition for what makes something synthesized. what like biosynthesis? It's not natural anymore when you change the original structure. The CBD isolate that I have in here is natural. It was not created by taking some other non-related compound and another non-related compound, putting them together in a lab, and then poof comes CBD. You could do that, but I would argue that it is not going to result in the most efficient outcomes. You could also synthesize caffeine in a lab, which a lot of companies do. And Flow State says, my point is that the designation of plant-based is pretty meaningless. We're on the same page indeed. All right. Nick says assimilation in America is a huge myth. Interesting point you just brought up there, Nick. Assimilation in America is a huge myth. I would actually say that out of any country that allows the mass influx of immigration that we've seen over the last few hundred years, America being one of the bigger places, I would say comparatively, if you would compare assimilation to American culture compared to assimilation to European culture, which one would you say is better? Hey, man, I mean, you got to look at me as a great example. I'm first generation. I'm American. When I think about my identity, I'm thinking that I'm American first before where my mom and dad were born, that I was not born in myself. So I've actually been hearing this argument as well. Assimilation in America is a myth, and come in, they're going to import their culture and yada, 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 which does have validity. I use specific things that I've learned from Iranian culture in my life in America. But if you connect the history enough, American culture and ancient Iranian culture are very intertwined. We'll talk about that one on another episode. But I would really, I don't know if the future will look like that. That's the thing. But I would say up until this point, the people who move to America from different countries assimilate into American culture more than any other place on earth. So let's see what this, wow, that is a lot that I just wrote. All right, I'm going to take a sip of this water right now. If you have not drank your water, take a sip and maybe put some Redmond's real salt in it to mineralize your water. Let's see. All right, let's see what this computer has to say to me. It says, all right, I'll do my best to present the establishment Democratic Party perspective on the subject. Keep in mind that ChatGPT is up to January 2022, but this crisis was already happening last year as well. Computer says, and if you have any comments, please leave them in the chat. I'm going to read them as I go through this. I'm just trying to go through all of the 6 different platforms that we're on right now and go through all of these. Let's see. Go through all of these chats. All right. So it says, it's essential to know, however, that the term open borders can be a misnomer. Okay, this is actually important. When I was writing open borders, I was thinking the same thing. What we have right now are not open borders. Republicans and conservatives call them open borders, but this is not an open border. This is a selectively open border. They leave it open to walk over for some people, but not everybody. It's not an open borders program. That should be very important to note. The open borders thing is more of a shock value clickbait kind of term than actually meaning what real open borders policies mean. And if you want to see real open border policies, go talk to, hardcore libertarians, anarcho-capitalist types, and you'll learn what real open borders actually means. So most Democrats do not advocate for entirely open borders, but instead support comprehensive immigration reform that would streamline and humanize the process. Wow, humanize the process. Yeah, I would not say that, flooding cities in America with a bunch of people who can't be taken care of. The resources aren't there. That's what happens when the United States government goes and gives our tax money that we work hella hard for and gives it to other countries all the time. And this has always been one of my biggest positions, to end foreign aid, make America's funding come first before we go and give it to some random country for some random scientific study. I mean, if you want to see how absurd it is with where your money goes, go to grants.gov and go read how much money you can make off different grants in different countries, America, all these different things that they're giving shitloads of money for. All right, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It just gave me 8 points, and it gave it to me pretty concise, which is good. All right, let's see. And while I'm reading this, if chat y'all, let's see. Nick says American culture, meaning what? The culture is top down here. It's the neoliberal woke program, basically. Take the first wave of European immigration. The various ethnic groups, Poles, Germans, etc., still vote distinctly today. A third of immigrants in that first big wave went back home. Very interesting. I did not know that a big chunk of immigrants actually went back to home. And that's really the point is, you shouldn't have to leave your home to come to America to live a better life. You should have a better life in that country. And for many reasons, America is the greatest country in the world. And, Nick says American culture, meaning what? American culture, meaning the only system of government on earth that is a constitutional republic system that is predicated off defending and protecting our natural born God given rights. That is what has built our culture. And the threat of the woke, if you want to see how old this is, go look at the debates with Alexander Hamilton. And let me check real quick. Oh, it did not. It did not. So if you're right here in the chat right now, say what's up. We're streaming on a bunch of pause due to poor connection. That is great. Do y'all hear me right now? Hey, what's up, y'all? How you doing? We got everybody in on these other chats right now. So if you're on Instagram, come on in, follow me on Rumble, which is where the fun is happening right now. Also, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and Twitter, because we can live stream on Twitter. So in the future, I am not going to be on the censored platforms. So, the thing is, to the point of these comments, I'm trying very hard to be an observer in this situation and not be as reactionary as I want to be and be rational about this from a historical perspective. And from a historical perspective, this exact battle has been happening in America since before the United States was the United States. And the Federalist and Anti Federalist debate that originally started America, that eventually splintered into what we see today, arguably, as the modern left and right. Yeah. I'm asking myself, this is the question that I've been asking. Is America a better place if it's more purple or if it's more red? We know it's not the answer if it's more blue. So we already tested that one out currently, and now we see. But really, like realistically, we have to ask ourselves, if we have one extreme, then the other side is gonna be reactionary and fight it tooth and nail, and vice versa. So we have to find middle ground. We have to build coalitions and fight for our ideas as hard, if not more, if we want to win and we want our ideas to flourish and grow without being censored. Then we have to put in the work. We got to go and be more involved in political activism. So, if you want your ideas to flourish, the Democratic Party, I say this all very often. I've said it for years. They do a very good job at organizing. They arguably today do a way better job of organizing than Republicans do. And as a result, we're seeing this cultural shift. So, the system is there for you to go in yourself and play it. I mean, the social order 40, 50 years ago was different than the social order that we have today in America, is it not? And what was the drastic shift that we saw? We saw a drastic shift in elected politicians and their beliefs. So let me read this. So number one, it says economic benefits. So if you're just tuning in right now in the live stream, I am debating AI on immigration, and I'm debating against the current immigration system that we have in America right now. So ask your questions in the chat. We're streaming on 6 different platforms right now. Number one, it says economic benefits. Immigrants, including those undocumented, have historically made positive net contributions to the U.S. economy. I agree. They fill roles in the job market that often go unfilled by native born Americans. That is true as well. And while I'm reading this, if anybody has anything to say against this as well, I would say that the counter to that argument would be that that is absolutely true. However, the question that a lot of people I see on the right wondering right now is that at what point does that completely change the fabric of our civilization and what built America, et cetera, et cetera? And the thing that I look at is, again, history. I'm constantly basing my beliefs off of looking at the historical record, seeing what has happened, and trying to find commonalities in what we're dealing with today. I hate to break it to y'all, but America is an empire, arguably the biggest empire in the history of humanity. Sure, it's not structured the same way as the prototypical empire of the ancient times, but it's a modern day empire. In history, 1,000 years from now, we'll see how long America is in the game, but in the future, how do you think America will be looked at? It'll probably be, when they talk about the Roman Empire and the Mongol Empire and the Persian Empire, and the American Empire will probably be in that debate somewhere. So let me check. All right, we're working right now. So, that all being said, is there a place that you can go where you tip over the edge and you can't retain what makes America America. Again, read Thomas Jefferson, actually. Go read what Thomas Jefferson was saying about Alexander Hamilton and John Adams, and what Adams was saying about Jefferson, and how George Washington was kind of just sitting there. George Washington was a Federalist, but, he was just kind of sitting there in the middle going like, hey, man, I mean, you all just be fucking friends, dude. Like, what the fuck is. Which is my position as well. Like, hey, man, we all got to find, I got my beliefs, but my beliefs are not going to be absolute in what everybody does in America. So we have to come together and make the best deal for everybody. And for all the shit that Trump gets, I think that, I've heard him say something like this often, which is, like, we just got to find the best deal that's going to make everybody happy. And I think leading into the future with that mindset is going to be much more successful and positive for our future. Now, did that happen when George Washington asked for it to happen? Absolutely not. The exact opposite happened. And like I said, the left-right dichotomy that we see today, where one side is just blatantly communist and then the other side is, I'd say like one side would be like blatantly communist, one side is like very libertarian. So it's like a communist, it's like a freedom versus control. In America, I look at the American right and left. Generally, the right and left here is not like that. But when you take it to the full ends of the right and left spectrum, not the right and left spectrum that most people hear where they think a conservative is, 100% far right. When I look at most conservatives and I'm like, bro, you could have been in the Democratic Party 30 years ago and been totally accepted. So yeah, they fill the roles in the job market. And, like I was saying earlier, if your culture is strong enough, it survives and thrives. I look at Iranian culture, and ancient Iranian culture has survived and thrived to this day. When you see Iranian friends celebrating Iranian New Year's on the spring equinox, that holiday is thousands of years old, and the Muslim Arab conquerors tried to make that go away. And they tried to make a lot of Iranian culture disappear. And those Arab Muslim conquerors succeeded in a lot of places in the Middle East, which is why so many people in the Middle East today call themselves Arabs. I asked Lebanese, you're Lebanese. Do you really think that that's, the Arab? That's, like the Arabs are, that's a tribe from way down there. It's a little farther than but that's what colonialism is. When you conquer, you make those people you. You tell them like, hey man, you're us now, So the next point, it says immigrants often pay taxes. The institution, that's gonna be the institute. Immigrants often pay taxes. Well, we've got millions and millions. Well, no, the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy found that undocumented immigrants contribute billions in state and local taxes each year. I mean, I would say that that's true, even if they're undocumented. If they're going and buying something at a store, they're gonna pay. They don't get like an illegal undocumented waiver for sales tax and taxes that are, if you're American, that every single step you make in your life is going to get taxed in one way or another, right? So yeah, like these are good points. And again, I'm gonna once we get actually I'm just gonna ask it from, we'll just go and ask economic benefits and then we'll go to the next one. So the next one is the influx of workers can boost economic growth. New labor can lead to increased demands for goods and services, leading to more job opportunities. Cool. Thank you very much. I'm responding back now. So cool. Thank you very much. let's focus on the economic benefits. Number one, can you tell me what you think of there being too many undocumented people coming into the United States, that it would overload our system and cause irreversible damage and ruin the culture that built America? Do you have any historical examples to show the negative economic impacts of a mass influx of millions of undocumented immigrants per year? So let me read that again for y'all. I'm asking it about the economic benefits now. Cool. Thank you very much. Let's focus on the economic benefits. Can you tell me what you think of there being too many undocumented people coming into the United States, that it would overload our system and cause irreversible damage and ruin the culture that built America? Do you have any historical examples to show the negative impacts of a mass influx of undocumented immigrants per year? Let's see. Mass impact, negative economic impacts throughout human history. Got to be precise with this. All right. Let's see what it has to say. Oh, epic. We're going to talk about history now. Come on. Uh-oh. Let's see what it has to say now. If you're in the chat right now, say what's up. I'm going to be here for until I finish this, but not for too long because I still need to work out tonight. And doing these live streams are really difficult. They take a lot of time out of your day. And if you don't do this and you see people who are live streaming, just know that they have to structure their entire lives around doing these live streams. And oftentimes I have to ask myself, like, am I going to talk to my friends and respond to messages, or I got to get on live and I got to talk to literally the wall? I'm talking to nothing right now, you know? So that's another, especially on the come up. We're going to get 1 million Rumble followers by 2025, but I'm going to look back at this moment right now and be like, damn, man, it is really hard to continue just talking for hours and hours and hours, especially when there aren't even that many people watching. Nobody's saying, you know, you're just starting out. And it takes a unique level of power to just keep going and going. So when I see these people who are like live streaming for 8 hours, 10 hours every single day, it's like, damn, dude, that is, cheers. I hope that I can get to that level, but it's like, damn, man, I've been here for like an hour already, and it's getting difficult, you know. But anyway, let's read some of these. Economy number go up. All right, so it gave me the so I asked it like, hey, give me some historical examples of where what you're saying is actually not true. And this is what debates have made me come to the conclusion of as well when I do it with humans, is people do not live in a world of objective reality. And we really need to strive for a world where there's a base level objective reality that exists. And we kind of have that, but it's only for the worst things in society, right? Like we have we all object, like no matter what, I mean, depending, like there's going to be outliers, right? But this is objective truths are just, generally speaking, there's always going to be outliers on everything. So, an objective reality, a universally agreed upon truth is murder is wrong. You shouldn't do it. Like in self-defense, taking another life is valid, has validity to it, but there's no validity to doing that for no reason and initiating violence on that, right? So, generally speaking, we all agree on this. So, generally speaking, most Americans agree that immigration is totally fine. Most Americans will say, hey, man, like, yeah, my family came from immigrants, and America is the best place in the world still, you know? If we believed what they were saying during the time of Abraham Lincoln, if that actually came true, then America wouldn't be America today. But for some reason, here we still are, being as free as ever, and we're freer than everybody else in the world by far. So, I would just say like things can get scary, but just look towards solutions and don't be so focused on being a reactionary to what's coming here. And if you are, make sure to go study it in history. So we got a historical example here about job market saturation, because that's a point that people make. Like they come in and they take our jobs. That's like the immigrants are taking our jobs. And it's like, all right, man. Today in the American job market, there's a massive problem that's happening where Americans just don't want to work, especially lower level jobs. And like this is a big millennial Gen Z thing, especially like if you don't like your job and it's hard, then you're going to go quit and then find something else. You know who doesn't do that as much? People who had to flee their country to come to America because they wanted freedom. And we have to realize that within immigration structures, even during the crisis, now I look at it this way. I put myself in the shoes, right? I'm like some poor kid from some, I don't know, South American country or something like, and I hear that, and it's been my dream to be free and live in America and live the American dream. You know how many people around the world just sit there daydreaming about living in America and having American freedoms? So if you're one of those people and then you hear from one of your friends or on the news or whatever that, yo, this is going to be the best chance for you to just get in there because you're probably not going to get a visa. A visa is hard enough for people with money to get in America, let alone, some poor kid in another country who has no access to a car or money to travel to the government office or, all these factors. So if I were that person, I'd be like, yo, we're going to fucking America, bro. It's fucking go time. Let's go. And it's like, damn, man, can I really be mad at that person for not following the law? Like, that is as American as apple pie. Being rebellious and not following the law and breaking the law to do something American. That's the most American thing. That's literally the founding of this country was based off of breaking the law. So, I'm just trying to view this as rationally as possible, right? I view it as an American, and I want to see America survive and thrive for thousands of years into the future. So, what I'm saying is from a lens of I want to see America flourish and survive first before what happens anywhere else. Here, this is my home. And, the way, when you hear the term like America first, a lot of people get these like, oh, but it's like, hey, that whole saying of if you want to go help other people, you got to help yourself first. Well, maybe we could use that same fucking idea in government policy. Like, hey, if America is not doing good, then why the fuck are we giving billions of dollars to all of these different countries who fucking hate us? Like, you know how much money we give to Europeans? And Europeans fucking hate America. They hate them. They're always talking shit about Americans, even though it's hilarious that they always want to come here. They always want a vacation here, but they always have something to say, especially when they're here, which I find very odd. I regularly, like when I'll meet a European person that I'm out, and like one of the first things that they do is to bring up the problems in America. Like, hey, fool, why don't you go worry about your own problems in Europe? You guys are literally communists. And if it wasn't for American tax dollars, y'all would literally be communist, or it just might all be Russia. Did you remember what Europe looked like before the fall of the Soviet Union? What Europe would have looked like if America didn't use our tax dollars to partition it out so French people and British people and the Western Europeans could live their cushy lives. So, yeah, point being, I love America. And look, point being, a lot of those Europeans who live there, a lot of those people who live in those different countries have my mindset too. They have American mindsets. They want to be free. And they talk to me and they say, oh, I wish we can be like you all in America. That's why I want to live in America. It's just really unfortunate because in countries like that, like Germany, for example, look at what just happened with that right-wing politician. He got like injected with some poison, already has been deplatformed on everything. So, this says here, the historical examples. I'm going to take another sip of this coffee. Last sip of the night. Last 2 sips, so I just finish it. Cheers. Very good money-saving technique, which is also a healthier option, is to just make your own coffee and learn how to make your own epic different coffees. Anyway, in the late 19th and 20th century, the U.S. saw large waves of European immigrants. Subsegments of society were concerned that these immigrants would take jobs away from native-born Americans. There were instances where wages were depressed in certain sectors due to the large labor supply. So there is reality to that. They say strain on public services. That's the biggest argument today. Like, hey, we don't have enough money to deal with this. We don't have the resources. I mean, look at how America has been dealing with the homeless crisis. And now you just brought in millions of more essentially homeless people when you don't even have the ability to deal with the crisis that's happening. And it's funny because America, being the richest fucking country in the world, would not have these resource issues if, again, they were actually using the money for America instead of Ukraine and all the other countries. Conservatives love to focus on Ukraine these days, but it's like, dude, did you guys forget like Afghanistan and Iraq and Israel and all of Europe, these Western European countries, these Asian countries? Like, do you know how much money we're giving all these people? Like, all that money that we're giving these people, even if we took half of it and stopped giving 50% and then still gave 50% of it, that was money. The amount of money the United States spends on essentially paying their friends is absurd. And that's not going to be the future of America. The future of America is going to be one where America really does come first, and our money that they're taking from us. Like, it would be one thing if it wasn't our money, this is our money. They take it from us. They give it to other people. Then there's more inflation is theft. It's a form of taxation. And then they boost all the prices up. Then our dollar loses value. So they're stealing even more from us. So, it says historical example in parts of Europe during the Syrian refugee crisis, localities saw surge in the demand for public services, leading to tension. Yeah, and if you remember back then during the Syrian crisis, the Syrian immigration crisis was a lot of right-wing groups started popping up in different European countries. And that kind of like right-wing style nationalism started rising. And it seems to be rising again right now. So here's a big one: identity concerns. It says historical example, the large scale migration. This is a good one. Oh shit. Okay. I know a lot about this. Identity concerns. For some, a rapid influx of immigrants might challenge national identity or lead to fragmentation. Historic example, the large scale migration of Algerians to France during the decolonization period led to major debates about French national identity and integration. Wow, that's really funny that you French went into Algeria, did literally the same exact thing to them, then you got kicked out eventually, and about a million, I believe, and you could learn about this, the Battle of Algiers. This happened in the 20th century, where France essentially lost their colonial power in Algeria, and they pretty much kicked all the French out, and the French just went back to France. Wait, let me see. How many French went back to Algeria from Algeria? I want to see the exact. Yeah, about 800,000 French nationality were evacuated to mainland France. So after Algeria became independent in 1962, about 800,000. So you're an Algerian dude, and you're like, bro, 800,000 of you motherfuckers just came in and you're fucking up my culture and blah. Like they're saying the same things. When the Muslims conquered Iran and they invaded Iran in the 600s, they were saying the same thing. Hey, these people are coming and fucking conquering our land, changing our culture, forcing us to speak their language. And, oftentimes the conservative argument is like, well, these people didn't have a civilization, they didn't have a culture, they didn't have a this and that. Like, hey, man, Algeria in the 1900s was fully developed. Algeria for hundreds of years prior was, like the Barbary Wars. Like, go study the Barbary Wars. That was America's first conflict, like first war, first foreign war, the Barbary Wars. And who was part of the Barbary Wars? The Algerians, or what is now Algeria. So, and then it says, of the latter, there were 200,000 remained in Algeria. Of the latter, there were still about 100,000 in 1965 and 30,000 left in 1993. So one of the arguments about Israel and Palestine, and I won't go too far into this tangent, is that with the influx of Europeans who came into Palestine and then created Israel as a result, they regularly use the argument of, hey, we're here now, we can't go back. Sorry, like we're grounded. There's no way, millions of Europeans can just go back. Well, nope, right here, about a million. They're evacuated. They left, like, because it was not French anymore, and they didn't want them there. So that's very interesting, So it's like, it's really funny how the French had their identity concerns, but you see here, it doesn't tell me about the Algerians' identity concerns. When the French literally did the exact opposite to to a nation or to an area of the world that was not like, Central or South Africa or Southern Africa, where, like there was like, I mean, think about it. It's like, dude, the Muslim Arabs, like, conquered all those northern lands, So, like, the Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Libya, like all those, like the Northern Africa, So it's not like Northern Africa was some, place without a civilization, and like they had plenty of civilization. Was it the right civilization? Was it a just civilization? That is so highly debatable. They were kidnapping plenty of Americans back during the war that I mentioned, and turning them into slaves. And American white slaves were very valuable in that time. So potentially we'll talk about that as well. So, it's saying like there's political and social backlash. We know that, economic integration. It says like, oh, this is actually great. If not properly integrated, large groups of, this is Europe. So, when the comment earlier said that they don't assimilate in America, this is my argument on, actually, they do here, but not in Europe. So, if not properly integrated, large groups of immigrants can end up in a cycle of low wage jobs without opportunities for upward mobility, creating pockets of poverty. Historical example, the Gastarbeiter, guest worker program in post war West Germany, brought in millions of laborers, especially from Turkey. The program was meant to be temporary. Many stayed, leading to discussions about integration and economic opportunity. Oh, so that's why there's so many Turkish people in Germany. Interesting. So, hey, if you're in the chat right now, say what's up. I am debating this computer right now, ChatGPT, GPT-4, the latest version of ChatGPT. I take another sip of water. I'm gonna be here for a little longer. I really want to get my workout in before it gets too late. It already is getting kind of late. I'm gonna try to do these streams a little earlier as well. Had a little bottleneck tonight and couldn't start it as early as I wanted to. Let's see what's going on here. So hello everybody. Hello. All right. So the next arguments that it gives me a cultural enrichment. And remember, it's going to give me the reasons why Democrats would be arguing for the immigration policy that they currently have. That's what the AI is debating me on right now. Cultural enrichment, humanitarian perspective, addressing root causes, safety and vetting, demographic needs, and practicality. So cultural enrichment, it's making the argument that the U.S. has always been a melting pot of cultures. Immigrants can bring diverse perspective, ideas, cuisines, traditions, and more. This diversity can drive innovation and make our society more vibrant and dynamic. You know, these are true. I don't, and this is the thing, I don't think that anybody is really denying this reality. So, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna ask. We're debating. I'm debating it here. So it's like, hey, these are not. So I need to ask it to give me. Yeah. So if you've used ChatGPT, you have to know how to prompt it better. Because now it's just giving me the establishment Democratic Party narrative, which is exactly what I asked, but it's the modern narrative today in 2023 is the radical communist narrative. So I'm gonna ask it again, and I'm gonna ask it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, so 7 things there that 8. Okay, so you gave me 8 reasons, but this time I want you to give me the arguments that are used by the medical wing of the Democratic Party, the people who are not moderates but are more progressive and communist leaning. Because as I said, the arguments that it's giving me here are arguments that humanitarian perspective. Many people crossing the border are fleeing violence, persecution, poverty. Offering them an opportunity for asylum or refuge aligns with America's longstanding values of compassion and welcoming the tired, poor, and huddled masses. Actually, I just recently read something about that. The tired, poor, and huddled masses. Like that wasn't like a politician, was it? I don't read about that. Hold on. I'll pull that up real quick. Yeah, so that's the poem of the Statue of Liberty. That's where it is. So today, the lines engraved in bronze on the base of the Statue of Liberty are almost as well known as the statue itself. But the young woman who wrote the New Colossus and its famous verses, "Give me your tired, your poor, and your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free," isn't a household name. So as you see, it's like that wasn't some American government thing. It was like some chick, like poet woman wrote it, So one argument I've heard is like, hey, we never asked for your tired, your poor, and your huddled masses. We asked for your best. And that's how I look at it. It's like, if you want freedom, then you really have to be on your game. I see the people who make it to America, you got to want it bad enough, right? It just doesn't fall into your hand. If you're tired, poor, and huddled masses yearning to breathe free, like you got to break away from the pack and be a true free individual if you want to be the fullest expression of what an American means. So it's like, all right, cool. So so yeah, we all agree with the humanitarian perspective. That's why we have the asylum. And that's what everybody is abusing that's coming in. They're like, hey, I'm seeking asylum. Like, asylum from what? Are you actually being persecuted? No, I just want a better life. Like, okay, well, that doesn't actually legally fall under asylum, but they're playing that law to their benefit. And then again, I say back, like, well, shit, man. Doesn't that make them American then? Isn't that what being American is? You know, they don't tell you how much your taxes are. They're like, you tell us. Like, and you're like, am I going to tell you? Like, what? Like, I mean, you do, right? But taxation is theft. So, cannabis, for example, uh, who the fuck follows that law? That is the stupidest. And Americans are just like, like, look at gun control in America. Look at how many Americans are just like, fuck these laws, dude. Like, it's wild seeing how many Americans, it's part of American culture. So again, there are these people who are being rebellious enough to want to break the law. And me as an American is going to tell them to follow the law. Like, I mean, yeah, you should, because we need, follow the law. But, America's law is supposedly supposed to be based off of just our natural law. So, if it was up to me, we would be removing a lot of the immigration structure that we have today. And actually, my belief on this is very simple, but government is not a simple organization. Government is the most inefficient, corrupt, violent institution that we have in humanity today. And so a little different. So the next one was addressing root causes. This is my big thing, right? So now I'm going to on my what I think should happen. It's the root cause. Instead of solely focusing on border security, the U.S. can work with countries from which many are fleeing to address root causes like violence, poverty, and corruption. This long-term strategy might reduce the pressure of the border. That is absolutely true. However, the big problem is that a lot of these governments that people are fleeing are not governments that want to work with the United States, really. And they're governments that are philosophically very opposed to the United States. So it's like, hey, let us help you with your communist problem. Like, no, they want to be communists. So a bunch of Venezuelans are like, fuck this. I don't want to be fucking communist. And then they come here. Or maybe they do want to be communist. And that's one of the arguments that a lot of people are making is like, nah, these people actually want to retain their beliefs and yada, yada. And it's like, well, the way I look at it is that, again, our culture in America is just so strong and dominant that if another culture really has the power to just like disappear our culture like that, then was our culture really that strong? Again, look back at the example I brought up of Iran today, where Iranians all around the world today still practice traditions from before the Persian Empire was even the Persian Empire, when Iranian peoples were assortments of these different empires that you can read about in the Bible as well. If you read about the Medes in the Bible, the Medians, it says like the Medes and Persians in the Bible, those are Iran. The Medes are Iranian peoples as well. And that's what I say is like, all right, well, what Iranian culture showed is that the culture for the last 1,500 years, over 1,500 years now, has been attempted to be crushed and disappeared by Arab Muslim conquerors. And they did succeed in a lot of it. But like I said, when March 20th comes around this year, your Iranian friends are still going to be celebrating Iranian New Year's, the spring equinox. When the Islamic Republic of Iran took over, they tried again to crush these traditions, and they failed. Over 1,000 years later, they still failed. So that's why I say, it's like, dude, I'm very confident in American culture comparatively to other places. Like, you really think some commies are going to take away this culture that we've built? I don't think so. Like we have way too many people in America that are way too into our culture, just like Iranians. You meet like, Iranians, like your Persian friends or something. I say Iranians because Persians are just one Iranian peoples, but a lot of people know Iranians as Persians, which is just not true. That's why I keep referring to myself and Iranian peoples as Iranians, because Iran translates to land of the Aryans. And we'll talk about that one day as well, about our Indo-Aryan, what they call Indo-European now, traditions. So it just goes to show you, it's like, all right, are you confident that America is actually the most dominant culture and civilization in current existence? If you are, then go to the front line of that battle and keep being on offense. Like, you don't have to go into a defensive play in that regards, If you're that confident and you know that America is the greatest place on earth today, then fight for it. The same way that the Iranians, for literally over 1,500 years now, have been fighting to retain Iranian culture and not have it erased by Arab Muslim culture. And that also happened in Alexander the Great's time. When Alexander the Great conquered Persia, you know what happened? Did Iranians become Greek? No, actually, there's stories about how when Alexander finally took over, he was stoked and he didn't want to destroy the Persian civilization, because when he was growing up, he revered this Persian civilization and what they had built. So when he finally took it over, he didn't like completely restructure the culture and force. So, it's very interesting today, because when if you're Iranian or if you're Greek and you look at each other, you see very big similarities in each other's cultures. Same with Italians, because, it was like Rome. So Romans and Iranians also intermingled a lot. But that all being said, are Iranians practicing a Roman holiday or a Greek holiday? Actually, no. It's the opposite. The Romans were celebrating Iranian holidays back then during the Roman Empire. Fun fact. Look into that. So, this root cause thing is my biggest one. It's like, immigration just needs to be more deregulated. And by deregulated, I mean it should be easier for people to come and go. It should be easier for people to get work visas, because people want to work. So if you want to work and you want to gain the benefits of working in America and make that money, and then you want to leave here and go to your other country, cool. That's not easy. That's not very accessible for people to do. The immigration process in America is just like, it's backed up. It's government. It's a horribly inefficient system. So essentially I'm sitting here going like, gosh, can we just get this government system to be more efficient? Like, no, it's not going to be more efficient. Like, but that being said, again, going back into history, I look at American history and I'm like, were there real immigration controls in American history? Not really. And there were just influxes of just all these different people coming in. So I guess, my thing is, this is a very common ground solution that I have, which is just make immigration, legal immigration, a more accessible model for the people who want to come in. That's meeting. Then you don't have to completely close the borders and not let anybody in. And then you don't have to completely have it so millions of people are coming in. Oh my God, common ground. Like, God forbid politicians find common ground in America. Actually, fun fact, during the Federalist, anti-Federalist debates, when it first started, there were no political parties in America at that time. And when they called each other Federalists and anti-Federalists, they also didn't think that that was going to be a thing for too long in America. And instead, it became a hallmark of American culture, that left-right dichotomy. which arguably started with the Federalist and Anti-Federalist debate in America, which when you take it down to it, it's like rural people versus city people. The Jeffersonian mindset is more of a rural person's lifestyle, and the Hamiltonian mindset was more of a city person's mindset. And what do we have in America? Oh, the same fucking thing. People who live in the cities generally want more government. People who live rural generally want less government. Oh my God, you're saying that literally the founding fathers were fighting about the same exact things over 200 years ago? So that's why I'm just like, yeah, it looks really bad. And I'm not saying that I support the current system that's happening at all. I'm just saying that maybe it's not as detrimental as we think it is. Because history shows that it's not. American history, since literally before the United States was the United States, shows this exact thing. So, we got our skin in the game. We're Americans. We all have our skin in the game. We want the best for America. And like I said, I don't think that what's happening right now is the best for America. However, I also don't think that Trump's immigration policies are the best thing for America either. For example, like building structures to keep people out is a band-aid, because as we see, they just build tunnels. So it's kind of like any prohibition that I look at. It's like, oh, you want to make drugs illegal? Well, now people are synthesizing the same things in a lab with one chemical structure that's different. Now it's the same thing. And then look, so it's just prohibition. You have a centralized organization that's going to control and prohibit the freedoms that other individuals want. Always going to have problems with that. So we need to have this more deregulated, decentralized system with everything in America. And oftentimes, the right in America thinks that we need to have these different policies, like added immigration policies. But the way I look at it is that we should go into the immigration policies that we have and start deregulating from there to make immigration more robust and openly accepted, and then go from there. Because if American immigration wasn't going to work, and this influx of immigrants that have come in millions at a time for hundreds of years in American history, if it was going to collapse the American system, it would have collapsed the American system by now. But here we are over 200 years later with the same system. And we're actually, I don't know actually, if you're watching this and you know of any other government, I don't know any other government in history that is older than the United States today that has retained the same government as the inception, which means that technically speaking, the United States government is the oldest government in existence today. Because you can look at other governments and say, oh, well, the French were around before the United States was a government. Yeah, but the French have also gone through multiple different changes in government, right? You could say like, oh, well, the British monarchy is still the British monarchy today. Still, the British went through a period where they took massive powers away from the monarchy. So there were these government transitions that happened over time. America, we still use the same constitution. And, there have been changes, amendments to the Constitution, which I would argue a lot of those amendments don't need to be around and should probably be removed. But it's not like we've created a second constitution. Maybe we need it. I don't know. I'm not saying we don't. I'm not saying that this constitution hasn't run its course. I'm not saying it has either. But all I'm saying is that that U.S. Constitution from the 1700s is the same exact document that we started from. And I don't know of any other government on earth that still retains the same document that they started their government with, or had even a few hundred years ago, because every government in the world has drastically changed over the last few hundred years. Like drastically. I mean, look at all the countries that are communist today. They weren't communist 300 years ago. All right. So let's continue on this real quick. I'm going to just read a few more of these. And then I like this. I like this. I like debating AI over debating humans, because this is giving me legitimate information. You know, for humans to debate and be this concise is very top level. I'm not saying that I can't find a person on the left that would debate me like this and give me these exact arguments. I'm not saying that at all. I actually do believe that there are people that can give me these exact reasonings. However, it's very hard to find. It's going to be very it's high level stuff. So, you know, it says the next one, and that was my thing, like safety and vetting is it's a big thing, you know. And the way I look at it is, if America has a strong, robust, efficient government that has a efficient criminal justice system that is swift and proportional, then we don't really have to worry about bad people as much as we do today. The reason that everybody's so scared about all these people is because they're like, hey, the government is not protecting any of us. The police have pretty much stood down. The federal government's not doing shit. So, you know, it pretty much just leaves the individual to protect themselves. But if you want to be free, that's what freedom is. You're protecting yourself. It's not cushy and comfortable and rainbows and unicorns. And that's where that quote comes. You know, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Freedom is dangerous. It's risky. But what many people know is, as dangerous and risky as it is, it's still a much better outcome than being controlled and living under tyranny. So the last few ones are, it's demographic needs. As the U.S. population ages, there's an increasing need for younger workers to support Social Security and Medicare. Immigration can help counteract the aging demographic and ensure that these programs remain solvent. Dude, that's a really good argument. Wow. You see? If the left makes, I mean, we're talking about population collapse all the time, right? And it's like, well, that's actually, yeah, the right makes that argument all the time. You know, they're going to come in. This is what they say. They're going to come in. They're all going to have a bunch of babies. The, white Americans aren't producing or reproducing at the rate that they are, and they're going to vote the other way. Or they could vote for freedom, but this is what I always say, and anybody who's worked in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party knows this reality of those citizenship meetings where people become citizens. Who's tabling in the front? The Democratic Party. Who's not tabling in the front? The fucking Republican Party. Where's the Republican Party? I remember that was a big thing during my time in the Republican Party, was just trying to get one person to go stand outside with the Democrat, because the Democrats are there just waiting. And they'll stand outside the meeting and be like, hey, what's up? Like, we're your friends. We're here to support you. We love immigrants. Like, yeah, register to vote. And then, boom, they register to vote Democrat, because they're like, oh, these people are nice. They welcome me. So, the way I look at it is like, yo, if you're going to be like, if the side that you're like, the progressives, if they're welcoming these newcomers and you're saying, get the fuck out of here, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, generally, like, where the fuck do you think I would do the same thing? I'd be like, those guys are fucking assholes to me. They don't want me here. Those people say, even if it's not true, that they do want me here. So I don't know anybody in this country. I just fucking came here. Like, where the fuck am I gonna go? I'm gonna go to the people that are being nicer to me. But like I, said in my stream last time, it's like, Democrats are so much more. I said it today. Democrats are so much more organized than Republicans. So they can get people to consistently go out there. It's very hard for Republicans to do the same thing. Why? Well, like I said, Republicans are not as organized. And I say this from experience. Again, like I was in the Republican Party. I was a chairman in the Republican Party. I was a delegate. Like I have been in the deep of the party. And that's why I know these things, because I was there for those conversations where we'd be saying like, hey, why does nobody in the Republican Party ever go and to these citizenship meetings? The Democrats are always there. And that's how they're registering so many immigrants. Like basic fucking political strategy, right? But then if you're a Republican and you're going like, yo, fuck these fuckers, we need to fucking get them the fuck out of here. Like, bro, your mind is in the wrong place. They're here already. Okay? This whole like mass, like Trump is saying, we're going to have the biggest mass deportation in American history. Bro, you want to fucking waste even more money? Do you know how much that costs? Like, wouldn't you just want that money to be going to you and your community instead? No, now it's going to go to plane tickets for people you want out of here, and resources and food and all the things that they give them on their way back. So they're here. Focus on the solutions, and that's what it is. It's like, okay, if you are a Republican and you're like, all right, fuck, man, there are like 10 million new immigrants in this country now. You got two options, man. You can go and talk to them about what makes America great and why we're so distinct and special and share American freedom with them. Or you could do the fucking exact opposite thing, which I would argue is why Republicans are so unpopular with immigration. But it's really funny because I was the same Democrat growing up, because there are multiple reasons, but one of the reasons where I was like, yo, those people are really friendly to immigrants, and that side fucking hates immigrants. So that side is hating on my family who immigrated here legally and followed all the rules. And that side is saying that they're fucking awesome. Like, yeah, they're great. Like, so that's how I kind of look at it. It's like, all right, man, like, are you playing this game to win or are you playing to fucking lose? Republicans today, they play to fucking lose. And as a result, they're fucking losing. So if you want to play to fucking win, you got to play to win. And if you have played any sport and you've been on a team or you've been in a position like an individual sport where you've been a champion and you know what it takes to win, or if you're, at a high up in a business or whatever, you know what it takes to win, right? So shift your mindset to that, to what it takes to win. And if you're just going to fucking hate on all these people, but then at the same time go to like a Donald Trump rally and there are a shitload of immigrants there who are legal and they love Donald Trump, it's like, bro, do you not realize like that same person with that MAGA hat right now 20, 30 years ago wasn't believing that, but they were welcomed enough. I would say like that's the biggest success of the MAGA movement, is that, and I felt this myself. Like, I'm not part of that. I don't consider myself that, but I'm like, yo, these people are like really nice. Even when I'm a fucking asshole to them, these people are really nice. So, that's why I'm like, oh yeah, like we can like, and look, as a result, look at how many different colors of people are in the Republican Party now. And I remember when I first joined the Republican Party, we were trying to show, like non-European white Americans, trying to like be distinctive, like, because when usually we talk about politics and people say the Republicans, they're like, oh, they're white men. It's like, well, I have to write white as well under my applications. But am I considered that by by you? Like, I don't know. But yeah, like the white, like they would say like, oh, it's like a white European. What did they call it? It was, WASP, the WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I think that's what WASP meant. So if you're in the chats right now, say what's up. I guess I'm streaming. I guess I'm still here. I thought I was gonna bounce out. Oh crap. Uh-oh. We lost battery. That's unfortunate. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. I don't know how long that just disappeared for. Let's see. All right. We just lost our battery real quick, but we're back. Yes, sir. Let's see. Oh no, we're not back. That is phenomenal. That is absolutely fantastic. All right. Last battery. I guess my batteries are not charging too well today. Let's see. Boom. We're back. Let's go. If you're here right now, say what's up. Leave your comments. I'm going to read some of these comments and then I'm going to bounce out soon. Let's see. I hope I wasn't gone for too long. Let's see. That's unfortunate. A few minutes. This is a big problem with StreamYard that I've actually heard other people say too, is when your video goes out, unless you're watching the video. So if you see my eyes, they're like going down all the time. I'm looking to see if my stream video is still working. And then, I'm like, oh shit, it's been a couple minutes since I checked last, and then it went out. So, all right, if you have not done so yet and you are gaining value from this video, please follow me, like this video, and share it with your friends. I'm going to be here and doing this debating AI on a lot more moving forward. So if you want to see me debate AI on any specific topic moving forward, please let me know. I really want to do one on, debating AI on Bitcoin, debating AI on communism. I want to go, deep, debating AI on the health practices and debating AI on curing cancer. And just, I got all these ideas in my head. Like I said, I started with immigration today because that is a very hot button topic and one that I've really been wanting to talk about a lot too recently. All right. So it says a practicality. So this is one of my arguments too. So like I was saying, this is, it's not giving me the radical communist ideology. It's giving me the, I'd say, Bill Clinton era, which they pretend they still are. Bill Clinton being one hell of a tyrant himself too, but at least back then they had a semblance of like love for America, I guess. It just seems like, and I know this as well, being a Democrat when I was back in my childhood, you have a very strong distaste for America. And what I see the Democrats of before is that they loved America and the American system. And I still see that with a lot of Democrats. It's just the Democratic Party today is getting so overpowered by this one small radical communist wing of your party that all the people who are just like, moderate RFK style Democrats, like RFK, for example, dude is a clear statist, like he pushes like big government shit all the time, but Democrats, shit, I didn't learn about vaccines from Republicans. I learned them because 20 years ago, Democrats were the ones who were anti-vax. Let's see, what was the result of the debate? What do you mean, what was the result? The result of the debate is that we found a fair and balanced solution. I was like, this AI didn't really give me, it gave me these generally legitimate answers, but it talks like a human does as well, where it's like, hey, you're not accounting for a lot of the alternative arguments back, which is why I, asked it, let's focus on the economic benefits earlier. And I asked it, do you have any historical examples to show the negative economic impacts throughout human history of a mass influx of millions of undocumented immigrants per year? Which when it answered that, it then contradicts the answer that it gives above. So, but I asked it to give me what Democrats would say. And yeah, this is true. Practicality. It's unrealistic to deport millions of undocumented individuals. I said that earlier. I didn't even see it. Already in the country. A path to citizenship or legal status, a criminal record, who are already contributing members of society can be a more practical solution. Now, remember, this immigration policy that I'm talking about is not one where we're taking violent criminals and bringing them on in. That's why we need a strong vetting process. Right now, we don't have a strong vetting process. So everybody just gets to come in. If there's a strong vetting process and an efficient immigration system, again, which they're not, then it would be much easier to have practical solutions, like figuring out if people are criminals or not. But if they just walk on over to the border and then just walk on in and come on in, and it's not as easy. So what does that take? That takes a lot of resources. And where are those resources? Ukraine, Israel, Western Europe, Africa, Middle East, everywhere, and not in America. So, the last one it gave me is a strengthening border security, which I've heard this argument a lot too, which is like, oh my God. All right. So it says, ironically, by streamlining the immigration process and providing clear paths to legal immigration or temporary work programs, the U.S. can focus its resources on catching those who might be involved in criminal activities rather than being overwhelmed by large numbers of individuals seeking a better life. So cool. It just literally gave me my argument of deregulation. It's just funny because if a Democrat gives this argument and then you say, okay, well, that means deregulate. So streamline the immigration process, provide clear paths. That means that you're going to have to remove a bunch of laws that do not streamline it and don't make anything clear. So Sal says economically would be disaster for mass deportation. That's not good during a labor shortage. Hey, if you're on Instagram right now, go on my Rumble stream, because I have this on the side right here and I can't look at it. I'm just looking every once in a while. So you're saying read your comments, but like I got to focus on the 5 streams that I have in front of me before here. So please follow me on Rumble. I don't want to be streaming on the gram much more moving forward. I'm just doing it to let the homies know we're going to Rumble. We're streaming to Rumble until we got a million followers on Rumble. Rumble.com/Amir Zen official. We got a handful of people watching on Rumble right now as well, which is pretty awesome. In less than 1 month, I've been posting on Rumble for a few weeks now. I already get more views than I do on YouTube and Instagram, which I've been posting on consistently for years. And it just shows how real the shadow banning is. And I'm just so happy. That's why I'm consistently on stream. Like I was saying, it's like, damn, dude, I really want to go work out, but I've been here for about an hour extra because I'm just so stoked that I can speak freely about these topics again. Fucking awesome. So yeah, that's the last, that was like, it gave me 8 points, and we'll continue on this. Like I said, if you want to see me debate anything else, I'm going to, on the next stream, figure out a way to do it with my phone. That's why I don't want to even use Instagram. I got Instagram on my phone right here. So on the new ChatGPT upgrade, you can talk to the AI and it'll have a conversation with you with a very real sounding voice back. And I could stop it and talk back like a real debate. So that's going to be the structure for next time. But yeah, with these arguments that the Democrats make here, if these are Democratic arguments, which I would say that they generally are, if you talk to a lot of Democrats, if they're not watching AOC and then using her communist ass talking points, and they're actually, being fair and balanced Democrats that can think rationally and not think like irrational communists do, then these are ideas that we can find common ground on. And we can start from there, And the problem is, though, like I said earlier, it's like, all right, hey, Democrats, so you know what that means? It's this really pretty word that I think is an awesome word that you think is one of the most evil, Ronald Reagan Every time you say deregulation, people are like, Ronald Reagan. He didn't deregulate anything, bro. Like the American government grew under Ronald Reagan. So that's the funny thing. It's like, I'm out here showing y'all that so much of the shit that you all are saying, open borders or deregulation, is none of these things. They have pretty strict definitions and they don't fall into those definitions. So when you use those terms, there are people on the outside looking in going like, that's not an open border, man. That's not an open border. So, all right. If you are here right now, I am going to finish this chat and go do my workout. We're going to do a calisthenics workout tonight, like I usually do. I do not lift weights at all, actually. Fun fact. And that's something that we will talk about in the future as well. So maybe I should debate AI on what the best workout style is, because I believe that the best workout style is calisthenics, and in particular freestyle calisthenics. Let's see what the robot thinks. I think one of the least efficient forms of exercising is the exercise form that a lot of people do these days, which is bodybuilding style weightlifting, which I think is, or CrossFit, which is fucking even worse. It's like they take CrossFitters take bodybuilding style workouts. They do them with shitty form, and then they take calisthenic style workouts, and then they do those with shitty form, and then they just put them together, and then they call it CrossFit. Anyway, if you're watching to the end right here, thank you so much. My name is Amir Zen. Please follow me on all social media. On all social media platforms, Amir Zen Official. Please also check out speckerhealth.com. Take the new Specker Health assessment, and also check out the Specker Library so that you can read firsthand summaries on scientific studies related to ingredients, health, and lifestyle, which are all summarized by myself. And you could also go to the library and read those exact studies yourself. The links are in every single summary at the very bottom. If you want to see me talk about anything in the future, let me know in the comments. Make sure to go do everything you can in your life to strive for balance. And that means go push yourself to be as happy as possible, because by pushing yourself to that extreme in this modern world, you'll find the balance that you need, if that makes sense. All right, y'all. Peace and love. I love you. All right. We done.